What's going on, everyone? My name's Encore, and this is your daily reminder that tomorrow never comes, meaning none of our tomorrows are guaranteed. So let's stop putting things off for some day in the future, our proverbial tomorrow, and do what we want to do today. That's what I encourage, that's what I push. And for me in this channel, that centers around the crypto space. You have to jump in, you have to do your research. It doesn't mean you have to invest right away. It doesn't mean you have to do anything that requires any investment or capital at all. It just means look into it, do some research and that doesn't mean reading headlines. All those headlines will definitely be more, the negative headlines will be more pronounced than anything else. So dig in a little bit deeper. Why is it, we've got BlackRock in there? Why is it Michael Saylor's buying it from a public company and putting it on his balance sheet? Why is Mass Mutual? Why is JP Morgan jumping in? Why are all these banks and institutions trying to get in? You have to start asking yourself these questions and then try and find the answer for them. That's it. That's all I want you guys to do, is just ask some questions and dig a little deeper. Okay? That's it. Even if you want to dismiss it, even if you don't think it's a valuable asset for whatever reason, do a little bit of research, and you owe it to yourself. That's a responsibility you have to yourself, that what if, just in case, right? Want to hedge your bets, is do a little research, and I'm telling you right now, 99.999% of you will not revert back to any thoughts you had prior to jumping into the crypto space. Once you're in, you just kind of go down the rabbit hole and really start to see the use cases, the value, and all the things that lay under the surface that the media kind of highlights. So having said all of that, what I wanted to share in this video was my journey and in the crypto space, and in terms of influencers. We all, in this day and age, good chance that you follow someone or a group of people in whatever interests you have, and you share their thoughts, you share their vision. You just, what they say, what they do resonates with you in some form or fashion. And whether that's good or bad, that's a discussion for another day. But for me, these guys have, they've really, really been consistent. They're authentic, and, they don't BS, which is what I like, right? And they tell it how it is. So even though all of them that I'm going to share today are crypto bulls, meaning that, they think long-term crypto is not only here to stay, but it's going to become something much more prevalent, and is going to grow exponentially. So that's kind of like the underlying theme for all of them. But they'll tell you when the market is not doing so well, when to be cautious, when the market is doing too high, it's too hot, and may serve as a correction. So kind of wanted to share that with you guys. I think it's kind of fun, and it's important, because it's my kudos to these guys for bringing me into the space, and continue to do so. I continue to learn from them. So I just wanted to share this, and I'm actually going to share the last influencer that I share is actually how I started. So the ending is actually my beginning in the crypto space. So it's kind of, I just want to keep that out there. So even though he does show up at the end, and his platform is at the end, it's the only reason why I put my toe into the arena, or into the water, and haven't looked back since being into the crypto space. So let's just get started here. I'm going to move myself out of the way here a little bit. Okay, so first guy here, Crypto. So this guy is very, very interesting in terms of, one, he's pretty well known for these thumbnails that he does with interesting faces. A face that Jim Carrey would be very proud of with what he does with it. So it's funny, it's jokes, it grabs attention, but his content is spot on. And the first three guys really have to do with trading aspect, looking at the charts. They do talk about some fundamentals, but usually they talk about some fundamentals and how it affects the trading market, so the charts. And if you're not familiar with trading or charts, really look at the chart as a visual observation of human psychology, right? What does that mean? That's kind of weird. But all you're looking at is when people are buying too much or selling, or maybe not too much, but they're buying and selling, and just the psychology behind the market at that time. and if you want to take advantage of it as it goes up or as it goes down. So it's really what the chart is. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously it gets much more complicated, but these guys, him in particular, I love his energy. He brings the same energy. I've been in this space for 2 years, and he's been making videos prior to when I got in. But his energy level is way up here, and it's been like that, you know, rain or shine, whatever location he's in. Market is high, market is low. His energy level is the same, and that's, to me, that's astounding. Just starting my own YouTube journey, I respect and appreciate that type of energy and effort that he brings, right? And of course the content, right? That's really what it boils down to. Is the content any good? And he's, you know, again, he's not 100%, of course, right? Whatever predictions he's making. And that's another thing too, is that I want to highlight here is it doesn't matter who you follow, especially in this space, if they give predictions or whatnot. They're human beings. They're doing the best that they can, at least the guys that I'm mentioning. They're doing the best that they can with the information they have at that time and how they interpret it. And if things don't go well or don't go as planned, try not to get upset at them, because the responsibility is still on us who are consuming the content to do our own research. You're still responsible. It's still on you to you know, to take responsibility of the fact that it could go the other way. So I want to highlight that because I've fallen into that sometimes too. Is a certain prediction will be made, it's made with such conviction and they have such experience in the space that you kind of jump into something and it doesn't work out, and then you kind of blame it on them, and that's got away from that now. That's not the case. Take what they're saying, do your own research, and if you do jump in, understand that nothing is 100%, and if it doesn't turn out that way, it's still on you. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. But for Crypto here, oh man, this guy he's jokes, right? He always brings energy, always brings some laughter, and you know, I've never met him or anything like that, but he just seems 100% authentic and genuinely wants people to win, right? So his content, and even though I'm saying these a couple of guys here are that I'm going to mention here are trading guys, I want you guys to understand that only a small portion of their portfolio is actually allocated to trading. They have a large, I'm assuming anyway, they have a large amount of assets, Bitcoin, ETH, and possibly some other ones that they just kind of hold on to and don't ever touch. So these guys have been in the space for a while. They've seen the appreciation of those assets and they don't touch them. But they take a small portion and they trade with it. So even though their content is heavily towards trading, like I said, they are bulls for the entire market and for the fundamentals of crypto itself, right? Especially Bitcoin and ETH. So I love Crypto. I love his stuff. I love his energy, everything. Go check him out. Second person is the Moon Carl. And these guys, what's nice is they actually collaborate. So this individual here in his thumbnail is the next guy I'm going to cover after this. So that's actually really great to see. And even with Crypto, these three especially, seem very close and they collaborate. So I like that because they're bringing positivity to the scene as a collective. They're collaborating. They're not trying, and they all have kind of the same underlying principles that they're trying to help people out, right? So yeah, I mean, they're going to get subscribers. They'll do well from this, but they seem like, you know, the type that other people's wins make them feel that much better. So that's how I resonate with them anyway. And you know, the Moon Carl, he's called the Moon. The Moon. A lot of things in crypto people say are Moon boys, right? They kind of attribute that to anyone who is optimistic or positive about the crypto space, regardless of what's happening. So I'm assuming that's kind of a play on Moon boys. Interestingly enough, when the market flipped and went down on Twitter, I guess as a, you know, just as a lighthearted attempt at being lighthearted in a market that was down, he actually changed his name to the Floor, so meaning the bottom of the market. So that was kind of interesting that he did that. That's funny. But anyways, back to him. So this guy is again, large portfolio, is holding, never to be touched, but his content is centered around trading, making money. And what's different with him than Crypto is Crypto's he trades for the market to go up. So he waits. If he has to wait on the sideline, he'll do so, but he's always trading the long calls, right? So for those of you who don't know the calls and the shorts, you know, the longs and the shorts, actually, I should say, is that a long is when you think the market's going to go up. So you put in a trade and think the price will go up. And a short is you're trying to take advantage of when the price action moves downwards. That's the basics of it anyway. And so Crypto stays on the sideline when things aren't hot or moving upwards. And whereas Carl the Moon here will actually trade when the market is going down. So as long, obviously, as the trade has to make sense. So he takes advantage both ways. So that's really the difference with him. And yeah, I know it says the Moon, but his name's actually Carl. So it's Carl the Moon or the Moon Carl, either or. And he's been on Yahoo Finance. He's been on Fox News as well, or CNBC. I can't remember, but I know he's been on Yahoo Finance for sure. And what's great about him and Crypto, and majority of these guys also, but specifically these two, is they have their own projects that they're a part of from the ground floor, that they're bringing to the masses to help. So it's not that they're just trying to take advantage of price action. They're actually involved personally, creating projects that are there within the crypto space. So their direct involvement is great to see. That's how much they believe in what they're doing. So that's really good for him, Moon the Carl. And DaVinci J15 is the next one. So this was the gentleman you saw in the thumbnail with Carl, and you can see him down here as well. He's there, and him, DaVinci J15 and Crypto do quite a few collaborations together, and you know, 2 out of the 3 will do some every so often. So it's really good to see. He's a trader as well, very, very methodical in his training. He will play both sides of the market, up and down, and he goes over fundamentals actually as well. He'll go through news, and then he'll kind of relate how the market's doing, and he'll do some separate things where it's news, but mainly my exposure to him has been from the trading aspect. And he's very famous for a couple of his videos, one being where he recommended everyone to buy Bitcoin when it was $1. So this was years and years ago when no one cared, and he was probably a laughing stock for doing so. I'm sure that's turned out quite well for him, right? So if you guys want to check it out, just search DaVinci J15 and $1 or something like that, and you'll see his video. I think it's over 1 million views for sure. So that's him. And then the next guy, a little bit more recent, I'd say several months now, Benjamin Cohen. This guy looks at charts. He's not talking about trading. He's just kind of looking at the market through the eyes of a chart, right? And he's very unbiased with what's happening. And what's interesting about him and his perspective is that he's probably one of the only ones that are left out there with his predictions still being intact for where the Bitcoin and ETH market's going to go. Or everyone was kind of calling for a 100K top or 100K plus top December 2021, and then correct after that. And his whole theory and thesis has been that no, cycles don't have to match, and that's what everyone was kind of predicting, is that this cycle would be similar to the cycles before. So his whole theory has been no, it doesn't have to rhyme, it doesn't have to be exact, and his whole thing is the cycle has lengthened, it's going to take time for it to get there, and so I think he's calling for 2023 actually. So his theory is one of the last remaining ones out there that could actually still be true, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But he's very matter of fact. He also kind of looks at how other coins, what they call altcoins, so something that's not Bitcoin or ETH, but how they compare to ETH and how they compare to Bitcoin. And his whole mentality or mindset around that is, if you're not in these blue chips, which is Bitcoin and ETH, meaning they're tried, tested, and true, if you're not in them, then and you're going into riskier assets, then you should be getting a better return. And very few look at, are they even getting a better return, because they're only comparing that asset to the US dollar. They're not comparing it to Bitcoin, and they're not comparing it to ETH. And a lot of times you'll see that Bitcoin, and especially ETH, far outperforms any of these other coins, no matter how much they look like they're spiking. So very interesting. Love his point of views, and how matter of fact he is with everything. So he doesn't come from a trading background. I think it's more of a math science background. I believe it's math is his background, and So he's very methodical in his approach, and brings a unique perspective to charts because he's not doing it from a trading perspective. So he's a good one. So the next guy here is BitBoy, very, very popular influencer in the space, in the crypto space. Gets a lot of heat. I know he gets a lot of love, but he gets a lot of heat, and I don't subscribe to that. Again, my whole rant about you do your own research and take responsibility, that goes across the board, right? So if people think he's promoting something or he's giving wrong predictions, I mean, I don't really care. I just want the content, and I make my own decision. So I like what he does. I like the flavor that he brings. Also, maybe because he's a little bit older, so that's a little bit different than the other guys, especially with Crypto and the Moon Carl. So different spin, and he's been through his lumps, so it's good to see. He does a bunch of spin-offs where he interviews with people, and he does do some trading aspects too, but not heavy. Just different flavor, different stuff. I would definitely go check him out as well. Altcoin Daily is another one. I really like these guys. So these guys are really about the news, right? The fundamentals, what's happening in the space. And what I mentioned before is don't read headlines from major publications. And that's what I like about these guys. So it's two brothers, Austin and Aaron, I believe, and twins. So these guys will actually go through and on a daily basis, they will find interesting information about projects happening in the space that you would have a hard time finding yourself if you're not seasoned. And they're very good, very well done videos, and not overly long. So just very matter of fact, and they'll do interviews with other people as well and collaborations. But for the most part, on a daily basis, they go through what's happening in the crypto space, kind of what's under the hood. Right? It's nice to see. So I really like these guys as well. This one's been fairly recent. So this is kryptosrus. His name is George. And maybe I would say 2-3 months or so. But really matter of fact. Love the way that whatever he believes in, he sticks to it until proven otherwise. But not in a stubborn kind of way. Like, hey, what I believe is right. His whole thing is hodling, so not trading. He actually advises that most people, if not everyone, stay away from trading. Is that the real money is to be had when you just kind of hold on to the assets. So if you're not familiar with the phrase hodl, it's just hold on for dear life, and that applies to Bitcoin and ETH, and just kind of see it appreciate. Don't get sidetracked. His whole thing is don't get sidetracked by the news, the ups and the downs. As you just dollar cost average, meaning you just buy at regular periods or whenever you have access to money, and just keep adding to your vault. Really is his recommendation. So he'll go through news, he'll go through projects as well. He does his whole kind of like a Q&A at the end of every session. So it's really good to see. And I think he posts twice a day, which is great that he does that. So a lot of content, good stuff. Matter of fact, like him. So, like I said right from the beginning, is the last person I mentioned is actually the beginning for me. I could and probably will make an entire video on this particular influencer, only because of the impact that he has had on me and continues to do so. Right. So I want to make it clear that I've been through his course. But I followed him prior to that. I've been through his course, the Academy, the Kings, and now into his investment club. So maybe I am biased, but he's made such an impact on me that I can't really say it anywhere else. So probably do a full video, even just a review on his stuff, on his content, his course, and all that. But I wanted to get to Brian Rose and London Real. So I watched him probably since 2017, 18. And this is when he was doing videos non-crypto related, variety of people he interviews. And his platform is interviews. And what's nice about him, maybe the last 6 months or so has been crypto heavy, but he's interviewing, like I said, all kinds of people. In the crypto space, he's interviewing CEOs, professional traders, hedge fund managers, venture capitalists, like all these heavy players in the space that you and I would never get access to. So you get to hear straight from their mouth what their thoughts are, maybe what their strategies are, what they think of the space, what they think of other projects. So it's very interesting, and it's very well done. What's great about him is he lets them speak. You know, a lot of people who interview just kind of want their own agenda. They kind of spill out their own stuff and kind of squeeze the guest into their frame, right? Their frame of mind and how they perceive things. But he doesn't do that. He just kind of asks the questions, kind of goes along, and next thing you know, it's been an hour and a half. So on YouTube, you're gonna get clips that you may not get the whole thing. You might get 40 minutes here, 3 minutes here, 10-minute clips here and there. They do have a platform, the London Real platform of their own, which is londonreal.tv. Here's where you'll get everything. It'll ask you to subscribe and all that, but it's just free. You just put in your email, no big deal, and you'll get access to all of them. And that's their full interview here. And they actually did this because they had got taken off the platform during this chaos in the last 2 years, just from freedom of speech perspective and who they're bringing on. So they created that platform, so you can always check it out here. How this started for me was I actually saw an interview with Tika Tiwari. So there's another influencer. Go check him out if you've never heard of him. His interview was probably 2018, 2019 maybe. And listened to it. It was great, as most of Brian's interviews are. And never pulled the trigger, the metaphorical trigger. I never jumped into the space. Maybe where you guys are sitting now, right? Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Sounds interesting. I don't know what it is. No big deal. And then he came around back in 2020, the same Tika Tiwari again. And it just jived with me, right? At the chaos that was happening and everything that was going on. And maybe my mindset at that time kind of aligned more. And it was just eye-opening. So he actually introduced Tika Tiwari through Brian Rose. Actually introduced me to Bitcoin, and so I jumped into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin and ETH, and then the snowball just continued to roll down the hill, right? So into all these altcoins, and now heavy into the space, and then so that was 2020, and now we're in 22, and I would say 2021, the last 3 months, 4 months in September, I was enrolled in his courses, and I still am. As I continue further on. And just what I say about all these guys, what I have been saying about all these other influencers, they're authentic, they're raw, they're genuine, no BS. That's been Brian Rose, that's been London Real for me. His team has been absolutely amazing. So if Martini's listening, just amazing, absolutely amazing. And Christina as well. Just phenomenal in how they're trying to help the community, and they're always there to listen. So if anyone's listening that maybe had a bad, or you read something that's kind of like not the greatest review, for me, it's like you get out of it what you put in it. And if you're all in, I can't see you walking away with value. I just can't, right? But course aside, like I said, massive influence on me and continues to do so. So even if you take everything aside and just watch his interviews with CEOs and different players from projects you may never heard of but are prominent in the crypto space. I mean, this is gold. This is absolute gold. And you'll see all these speakers. One is obviously their intelligence, right? That's one. And it really comes out in their interviews. But two, what comes out even more is how they want to provide value for more than just themselves or their circle of influence. They're really trying to change the world. And maybe that's cliche and maybe that's cheesy to some, but they're actually out there to make a difference, which is amazing to see, and they're in the right space to do so. So that's kind of where I could just go on about Brian and London Real and the team and all that kind of stuff, and one day I will. But check them out. Check out anything crypto related with them. Check out any interview really, but crypto especially. Just absolutely wonderful content, wonderful delivery, wonderful production, wonderful everything. And so wrapping everything up here, you know, influencers are not a bad, it's not a bad thing. You know, sometimes it gets a bad rap, but you know, there are exposure to another side of, or another world, or there are bridged to getting into another world. And if you do your own research and you're comfortable with who you're following or being influenced by, as long as you're doing your own research with it, it should never be a problem. Okay, but you got to do your own research. Do not rely on somebody. Do not blame anybody else. It is always on us. Take the responsibility. Okay, so this was my wrap for my top 8 influencers. They've helped me from beginning to end, and end meaning as of now, but there's no end to the crypto space, and they will continue to educate me. I'll continue to learn from them, and maybe one day I'll even collaborate with one or all of them at some point, and I look forward to that. So hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.